It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the best show that you'll ever know. It's the Dep Lewis Show, and it's episode 33. 2 3s for you. 3 back to back. This is the 33rd installment of the worldwide, world famous podcast called the Dep Lewis Show. So welcome to the damn show. Today is Sunday, May 21st, 2023. We are back to a regular scheduled program of the Dep Lewis Show on a Sunday. So welcome back to the regular programming. Thank you for bearing with me while the Dep Lewis Show is on the road. I'm officially off the road. I am back in the multi-million-dollar Dep Lewis studio recording this podcast with just a smile on my face. I'm glad to be back here doing the Dep Lewis Show. It's been a great time away from the show since I last talked to you. I was out of town for a while. I had a lot of fun. I played some video games. I still followed some video game news. I got a lot of things to report back to you today, so it's going to be a really great show. And I'm glad for you to be here. So hopefully you've had a good week too. Hopefully you've done some fun things maybe outside the norm. Hopefully you've been playing this really big video game release that's come out that everyone's been playing, and that's been the main thing I've been playing. And I think I really like it. So we're going to talk about that here in the first section. So we're going to talk in the first section about what I've been playing is the main thing. And there's just one all-star game right there. In the mid-section of the show today, we're going to talk about what I've been seeing across the video game landscape. There is a upcoming showcase. There's been some news about a fighting game. There's been a game that I'm interested in that I may purchase. And there's just some other tiny news that I'd like to report from the Nintendo world. And then in the miscellaneous talk section, we are going to talk some miscellaneous talk, which will include some comedy talk. I watched a special while I was on vacation. I want to talk about that. I want to shout out some podcasts in general because they're awesome. We're going to talk about some sports, the Panthers and the Braves. We have a lot to talk about the Braves since I saw them in person 3 times in the last week. So I got a lot to report there. So it's going to be a great 33rd episode of the Dep Lewis Show. So thank you for being here today. And just welcome and settle in for a great show. So the first order of business today is to tell you something to do to help the show become even more famous. Please follow the Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, and tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. That email box is open 24/7, 365, so slide on in there. With questions, feedback, comment, concerns, things I missed. If you just want to say hey, if you want some suggestions to the show, whatever you want to do. If you want to tell me about a game you're playing, if you want to send me a free game, if you're a big publisher or a big company, if you want to send me some free games or free hardware or anything, that'd be great. And just out here begging. And full episodes of the Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. The Buzzsprout page is the best hub for you to find the perfect place to listen to the Dep Lewis Show. And if you'd like to support even further, you can go to patreon.com/DepLewisShow and subscribe to the ground floor tier. That is a general support tier for the Dep Lewis Show. And I would really appreciate it. Clips of the show are on YouTube and TikTok, so go check those out and like them and share them. You can see some gameplay footage along with this wonderful podcast over the top of it. So that's what we're here to do today. And we're here to drink some coffee first because that's the main objective. Besides the podcast and video games, so that's what I'm doing. And just welcome to the damn show. I'm glad you're here. All right, so let's see. We don't have any notes from last show. Last show was a little bit short. This one might be as well. Last show was a little bit early because I was going out of town. I went out of town last weekend. I finally got back on Friday night. So I had all yesterday to recover and get my life back in order. And also play some video games and watch some baseball. And that is my general plan today. Record this podcast, play some video games, watch some baseball, and get ready to go back to the real world tomorrow. So I have to go back to a normal job tomorrow, but that also allows me the time to focus on the great Dep Lewis Show like I need to do. So next week's episode should be as normal as possible. Most likely be on a Sunday again, and we'll have some, a lot of stuff to talk about, maybe more a fully fleshed out show than today or last week, but I really appreciate the bearing with me, and I'm happy to be able to do this even when my life is changing up a little bit and have some stuff going on. So the Dep Lewis Show is sticking around. We're not missing this. And you're going to get the best video game news weekly and video game thoughts weekly, no matter what. So here we are here. So let's talk about the what I've been playing section. There was one game and one game only. This game was $69.99 on the Nintendo Switch, the first
Nintendo Switch game to have the next gen price increase, and that game is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, the thing that everyone's been waiting for. It came out May 12th, 2023, and this game is amazing. This game has jumped to the top of the rankings for the Dep Lewis Show for 2023 Video Game of the Year. There's some pretty great games I played this year, and I think this is automatically topping it. I think this is just as good as Breath of the Wild from what I can tell. I've never completed Breath of the Wild, but I played a lot of Breath of the Wild. I've actually started my file 3 times in that game for a bunch of crazy reasons. So I played, a whole lot of hours of the early game of Breath of the Wild. I haven't ever made it too far, which I think could possibly be helping me some in playing Tears of the Kingdom. That I am enjoying this, and I'm going to fully dive into it. And I'm playing the hell out of this game, and I'm enjoying it. And it's been really great. I'm speaking in hyperbole possibly that it's the best game of the year already, but I think it's already jumping up there. I really can't believe they did it again. The abilities are really fun. The game looks and runs great. There are different areas to explore. So this is still very early in the lifespan of the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So not trying to talk too much spoilery things, but just kind of talk some general things and get into a few specifics, but not trying to spoil anything. So that's not the intention here. This game is very, very similar to Breath of the Wild, although you have, some different levels to get to. There are, you start off in the sky. That's been the whole thing they've been talking about. So there's sky islands. So there's obviously the difference between the sky and the ground. There's some differences there. You're still returning to Hyrule, the similar Hyrule to Breath of the Wild, but I haven't really noticed anything too samey. There is some, you see a stable that's familiar or certain little areas, but it all feels new. You have these new abilities. There's different things going on around the world. So I haven't really felt that to be a huge negative. I think it's pretty cool that they were able to build upon the first game and use, a lot of the things they learned and the resources and things like that to bring into this game. I think it's cool. A lot of people will say, hey, this is too similar, and I think that possibly could be the only complaint you have, especially if you weren't into Breath of the Wild. I don't know if this will change your mind, but if you were into Breath of the Wild and really enjoyed it, I think this would be right up your alley. I think it's a perfect remix, a perfect switch. It's not as drastic from Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask, but it is, I would say, an improvement. And, I've heard people arguing online, to be nice to Breath of the Wild still. And I think that is true. It'll be interesting to ever, try some of that out again, after playing a lot of Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know how the go-back rate would be. But I've also heard people argue that there are different games and they each have their own merits. And the first one has, I don't know, they were saying the first one, I was listening to the Nintendo voice chat, and it was Cat Bailey was saying the first one had just kind of a different tone. That was interesting, and, I don't know, it just depends on what abilities you like. I do miss having the bomb, but there are more than enough things to make up for missing that ability in this game. The main abilities I've gotten so far have been the Ultra Hand, the Fuse ability, the Rewind, the Cooking, and the Ascend. So the Ultra Hand is probably the biggest and coolest change in this game. It allows you to grab things in the world and connect them together and build. So it's basically adding Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts or Minecraft into The Legend of Zelda. And they are telling you about this. You're using this ability from the beginning to get around places, especially on those sky islands in that first world. So you start off in like a tutorial area. It's the sky islands. Got the dude Raru up there telling you what to do and guiding you through. And the first, you make a platform with a hook on it, and you grind the rail basically and just get to your other section. And it's pretty awesome when you realize that, this is going to be a crazy adventure on getting around this world. So this is basically, I've heard people say this is a whole simulator of, making Link move faster than he already does. So whether or not that's, building a platform and flying on it, or building a car, or even getting on a horse, or, getting your stamina up. The whole point of this game is to get Link to move quicker than he does normally. So, yeah, I made a boat to sail across the water. I had a breeze, so you're able to just, set your boat in the water with the direction of the wind, and you're able to get across. And I made a boat with a motor at once. I didn't have a sail, but I put a fan on the back, and it allowed me to, direct my boat in one direction. So the Ultra Hand ability has been very cool. It's probably the one that I use the most, I guess I would say. But the next ability, the Fuse, has been something I've been using more and being more, I like to say this word, cognizant of finding things to fuse in the world. I think a good pro tip for this game is, anytime you have a weapon, you should fuse something to it because it automatically boosts the stats. And the whole, the whole thing of this world is all the weapons are decayed. I think they're decayed even further than Breath of the Wild since it's after Breath of the Wild, but, don't quote me on that Zelda lore canon right there. But, I think the whole point of this is to, take nothing and build it into something. And that's even with these weapons. That's with these weapons. That's with these vehicles. And it seems like that is the gist of the whole game. So the fusibility has been really cool. I keep remembering, whenever I pick up a weapon, I need to try to find something to fuse with it so I can't get caught slipping out here. And then another good tip, since we don't have the bombs anymore, just the bombs in your, as one of your Sheikah Slate abilities, you should try to have a big rock on one of your weapons so you can bust open rocks. Or you can get zonate, or just be able to bust them up so you can get some minerals from them, because I think that's the most efficient way to do it in this game. And let's see here. Yeah, when you pick up an item now, it shows how many fuse abilities you have. So fuse allows you to attach resources in the world with other resources. So you can put, possibly the one everyone saw in the trailer is putting the Keese eyeball on the end of an arrow, and it allows you to heat seek your enemy. So I've actually used this to do some hunting, and it works really well. So that's pretty cool. Sometimes those animals like to be a little flighty or quick and can get away from you, and you can shoot them and not hit them in the right spot. But adding the Keese eyeball there is great. I actually defeated a boss, huge bridge troll guy that I couldn't believe I actually completed and beat him. But I took him out using, fire. What was I using? Bomb. I can't speak. Flower bombs that I attached to my arrows, and I was able to blast that guy and take a good bit of his health down. And then just the general arrows would also, you could hit him in the face and it would knock him to the ground, and you were able to go hit him with your sword. But the main thing I was doing damage with was those flower bombs, and now I'm out of flower bombs in my inventory, so that's a little tough because there's some enemies that it's very helpful to, they reach out and grab things, and you can throw them a flower bomb and they'll eat it and then it'll explode them. But there's a million combinations, a million different things in this game. The fusibility has been really cool. Let's see, yeah, they can have multiple fusibilities, which is neat, so it's forcing you to try some things out. Bright Bloom is a good example. You can either smack this while it's out in the world and it'll light up a good section of the map, or you can pick them up and use them to illuminate things as you wish. So you can attach them to an arrow, you can shoot them across the map, and not across the map, but as far as your arrow will go, and it will light up an area. So it's pretty cool, especially if you ventured down into the chasm yet. You'll need some Bright Bloom to go down there, and you'll see some things down there. So this game, just to take a little break from talking about the abilities, just talking about the general structure of this game. This is not spoilery. This is kind of just more to help you along if you haven't played and you're wondering kind of how it's going to go. You have an initial tutorial area. It's a sky island. You're going to do some shrines there. You're going to learn the abilities. You're going to kind of get the overall flow of what they're having you try to do. And then you're going to float down to the ground into the great world of Hyrule. And you're going to start exploring down there and doing some shrines. It's going to feel a little bit more like Breath of the Wild once you get to the ground. But you want to kind of push the story first. I think at the beginning of this game, you want to push the story a little bit so you can get some key items. The paraglider is something that you want, and especially if you remember that from the first game. It allows for a whole lot of mobility. So if you just push the story a little bit early on, there's a place called Lookout Tower, I believe is what it's called. So the place where you first get the unlock the ability to climb the giant towers to unlock the map. That is where you will get the paraglider. And then there's also, another recommendation. This is not too spoilery, but after you get the paraglider, it obviously opens you up to fly around a bunch of places, and land softly. But you go check out the chasm. There's the chasm with gloom all around it. Gloom is the infection or, terrible thing covering the world that, if you touch it, you can get damage. That's the thing that we're trying to clear. It's the thing that was not nice to Link's arm. Excuse me. But yeah, once you get the glider, try to go down that chasm. You'll see some pretty cool stuff down there, and you actually get an ability for your Pura pad that you're gonna need. So it's something you could miss. So just go check out that chasm. It seems scary to go down there, but after you get the paraglider, you should be able to safely reach that. So I just wanted to point that out. All right, so some other abilities in this game. We have the rewind function. It's a very cool function. It's something that I've used just a few times because it's not immediately popping up in my head to use this, but it allows you, if something happens, sky, you could ride. If you saw a big boulder falling from the sky, you could rewind it you could jump on it when it hits the bottom. You could rewind it, and it could take you back up to the top. If you have your paraglider, which I haven't utilized this yet, but I'm thinking through it now in real time. I rode one of those rocks up really high. I wasn't able to do anything with it, but now I'll be able to jump off the side of it and paraglide somewhere. So I think it's going to allow me to access some things. I haven't necessarily been able to get up to the sky platforms as much as I thought I would early. But you're going to get things in this game. I've seen, you get a rocket, you get some rocket propulsion. I think that's going to help you. I need to get a steering wheel from some of these vehicles so I can actually steer instead of just building a wind vehicle. But I'm still very early on in the game, and I'm still taking it all in and trying to learn the stuff and see what's possible and peek around. And I'm helping guys keep their signs up. There's guys in the world that he's trying to campaign for President Hudson, and he's trying to hang these signs. And this guy would never hang a sign if it wasn't for Link. So you got to go around the world and help him. I think that mini game's been fun. This game has been awesome. I took it with me on my trip. I came out the day before my trip. I took my Switch on the road. I was playing some handheld. When I got to my friend's house, he has a Switch, so we put it in the dock, and we were able to play it there. I was getting some help from my friends. That friend ended up buying Zelda, so I have at least I have at least 4 friends that are playing this game, and I have a cousin. I know 5 people playing this game, actually. I think about it. So my Switch Online friends has been popping with Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I've been hearing generally positive things from everybody, from all my friends. It's been really fun. We've been able to discuss things going on and talk about it, and that's just about as good as you can get with video games. So shout out to the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It's been great, and we're just going to keep on talking about it. That's the only game I've been playing this week, so we're going to have a little more to talk about here. So let's see. We're talking about the rewind function. That's another ability. And what's another one? Ascend has been really cool. It allows you to ascend through the roof of an area. So if you're in a cave or something and you really want to get out, I had an instance where I dropped down into a well, and I was searching around. I got all the stuff in the well. There were some items and things. There was a note down there saying something, and I just ascended back up, and I was back on the ground. So, I think a lot of these abilities, I'm going to forget that I have them sometimes, and then I can actually use them because they're so cool and different. You just wouldn't automatically think you could just go up through the earth and get back to the top if you're in a bad spot. So I think it'll be a good way to get around the world. I think that's kind of the whole point of this game, is moving around in a cool way, if you think about it, and you could even escape people with some of these abilities. The fuse thing is really cool. So I don't know. I think I've got all the main core abilities, and I've just unlocked the camera. So I'm actually been making some progress towards the Hyrule Compendium. I've been having fun doing that because it's, I can be a little more exploratory. I'm taking pictures of things. I'm upgrading my pictures. If I get a better shot of a doe or whatever it may be, or a deer, a female deer, or a boblikin, or whatever I'm taking pictures of. It's been really fun, and I've been enjoying that aspect of it. And let's see, I'm going to try to do that as much as possible. Yeah, that's kind of my plan for this game, because I really like that. I like looking around the world and seeing the different things, and it's fun trying to capture it. And it's fun while you're fighting an enemy, trying to get a picture of them. It's just a great time. All right, somebody's making noise around here in this $1 million studio, but that's okay. All right, let's keep going down my notes here about this Zelda game. I got the paraglider. I can get to those towers. The horses. I've caught some wild horses, and once you do that and you go to register a new horse, you're going to realize that your Breath of the Wild horses are there. So like I said, I started a few different files with Breath of the Wild, but my most recent one, I had 2 horses named, Epona, however you say it. So Epona 1, Epona 2. My new horse in the crew is named Sasquatch, and he's my best horse, actually, by far. So I picked a good one to start, which was cool. But it's pretty neat that they're there. Some of the same stables are there. And I don't know. Everything in this game has just been remixed in such a great way. Minus using the same area of Hyrule. There's a lot of different stuff going on. There's different abilities. There's different things throughout the world, different side objectives. You're able to still get Korok seeds, and that's very fun. There's different ways to achieve the Korok seeds. You're helping that guy find his friend, which is fun. You'll sometimes have little challenges around that. So this game has just been amazing. Walking around the world, you're going to find something. That's all I'm really kind of doing at this point, is just exploring. I'm not doing anything too heavy with the story or trying to push it forward anymore, because I think I've got a good bit of the abilities now. So I'm really just trying to poke around and have some fun and go in some of these shrines and get my hearts up. I believe I'm up to, I'm either at 6 or I'm at 7 hearts. I've been trying to push One of my friends said I need to get at least 6 hearts first before I go into stamina, so that's been my plan. And I think I'm going to do 7 and then get into some stamina, since you have other means to get around the world besides using your stamina. But it is my inclination to get the stamina first because it just helps you move around quicker, which is nice. But in this game, you still need 4 Lights of Blessing, just like the original game, to increase your hearts or your stamina. Hold on one second. And the shrines have been fun. I've had no trouble finding them. They're all around the world. I'm just marking them on the map like the last game. So there is going to be a lot of familiarity to the last game. I think that could be the only complaint from people. If you didn't like Breath of the Wild, I don't know if this is going to be selling you on it. I think it's possible some of the abilities and stuff could get you into it more than Breath of the Wild, if they just tripped your trigger more. Or another knock on this game, I think if you played Breath of the Wild real recently and had just played through a whole bunch and completed a bunch of things, you might not be so willing to jump right back into it and do sort of the same thing again. But I don't know. Breath of the Wild is such a unique and novel thing, and I don't think more of it is a bad thing, from my opinion. So I'm thinking all the reviews were seeming pretty proper on this. I think all the talk has been pretty proper. I know some podcasts, like the Nintendo Voice Chat, is hijacking their own podcast to do Talk of the Kingdom. So each week, instead of doing their normal show format, they're doing all Zelda themed show each week for I think 6 weeks or something like that. And I just saw also Serial Vasquez, who I know from MinMax, is doing a podcast where he details his playthrough of Zelda. So I think that's a pretty cool idea. It's not going to be that podcast feed is just going to be however long it takes him to beat it. So he'll have that many episodes or whatever. So go check out Serial if you want to see some more Zelda talk. But every podcast in the world is talking about Zelda. This game is providing a lot of content for people out there in the world, in the video game world, and the Dep Lewis Show as well. So I just want to say thank you to the developers for really coming through. It's amazing this game runs very well on the Switch. I think it's a great example of the Switch is not as long as in the tooth as everyone thinks it is. I think it just, it's what you're working with here, and I think they did a great job. And I don't think it's crazy to say this is the best game of the year so far, and it's going to be at the top of my list right now. There's other great games that I've played, like Dead Space or Fire Emblem or Dead Cells, or there's a few others on that list. But I think hopefully I said Fire Emblem. But this game is something different, and it's really, really cool, and I'm enjoying it. It's going to be the main focus of my gaming for the foreseeable future. There's one game we're going to talk about in the midsection that I might want to buy, and it might be a nice complement game to The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But other than that, I gotta say, hey, you should go buy this game. The Dep Lewis Show highly recommends it. $69.99 if you want to buy a straight up copy. If you have Nintendo Switch Online, there is a Nintendo game voucher promotion where you can spend $100. You can get this game if you choose, and another game. So you can pay $100 total. You can get 2 games. There's a whole list of games. It's not all the games on the store, but there's a nice list of some recent releases and big releases from Nintendo, such as Fire Emblem, Splatoon. You can pre-order Pikmin 4. There's Advance Wars. So if you wanted to pick up 2 games for just a little bit more money, I think that would be a great option to do. And I'm trying to think of other things I should tell you about Zelda. There's a new amiibo out there. I think it's hard to find, but you can use those in the game, and I'm kind of jealous of people doing that. I think amiibos are really cool. And I don't know, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, it's looking like a great game. You're going to hear me talk about it more and more. I'm going to get my thoughts together before next week, and you're going to hear about it again. So we'll see if I'm playing any other games in the midst of this, but the main thing the Dep Lewis Show is going to be focusing on is the Tears of the Kingdom, and I guess you are too. So next week in this section, you're going to be hearing some more about Zelda, but that's going to wrap it up for today in this first section. So that's the main thing I've been playing. I've been on vacation, been playing some handheld. I'm back at my humble abode, and I have, I can play on my normal TV, sit on my couch, and really, really get into this game, and it's been fun. And I can't wait to talk some more about it. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to be playing some more today. And Legend of Zelda, you're kicking ass all the way to the top, to Hyrule Castle or whatever. Temple of Time. Just say random Zelda things. Korok Seeds, Wind Waker, Link's Awakening, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Tingle. Ooh, remember Tingle? Yeah. Oh, there's Zelda stuff out there. That's it. Midna. Ooh, Midna. All right, we're going to shut up. So that's going to wrap up this first section of the show. We're going to come back from the mid section where we're going to smoke some mid. We're going to talk about what I've been seeing across the video game landscape. I did follow some news while I was out of town because there was some good stuff, and I want to tell you about it. So that's what we're going to do. So go take a quick break, and we'll be right back from the midsection of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 33. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 33, the best show in the universe. This is the midsection where we talk about what I've been seeing across the video game world. So let's get right into it. I got some good stuff to tell you. All right, so the first thing I saw is something that you're invited to, and then I'm invited to as well. It's a live broadcast on May 24th, 2023, so that's this upcoming week, if you're listening to the Dep Lewis Show in real time, and that is a PlayStation Showcase. It is 1 p.m. Pacific time. I said that correctly, I hope. And this thing will run a bit over an hour. It's focusing on PS5 and PSVR 2 games in development from top studios around the world. You can expect a glimpse at several new creations from PlayStation Studios, as well as spellbinding games. Spellbinding from our third-party partners and indie creators. It's going to be broadcast on YouTube and Twitch, and it is something that I'm very excited for. There's no E3 this year, so every man for themselves with showing off their games. And this is something I'm going to be tuned into and reporting on next week, and I'm excited to see what the PlayStation console has to offer. I go through a battle a lot between do I like PlayStation or Xbox more. I think they both definitely have their merits, but I think if I had to get down to it, I may be enjoying my PlayStation a little more these days. But that's just a story for another day. But this showcase will be on the 24th at 1 p.m., so please go watch it. A lot of your favorite sites will probably be talking over it, and you'll be able to watch those videos after if you'd like, or you can watch it live directly from the PlayStation stream. And I'll be watching it and talking about it next week on the show, so just something to note. I love these showcases. The main PlayStation exclusive games that I'm looking forward to this year are possibly Final Fantasy 16. That comes out in June. Excuse me, I don't know if that's something I'll purchase at all or right away or when, but I'm definitely interested in it. It looks cool. And then the other game I'm interested in for PlayStation this year is Marvel's Spider-Man 2 coming out. I think that is something that will be a day one purchase for me. Maybe we'll see some more footage from that, or maybe we'll get some surprise footage of something I'm not even thinking about. And I don't know, I'm just excited for it. I love getting these shows. The year has a really great, I heard someone recently saying there used to be, and I remember this because I'm an old gamer, but there used to be lulls throughout the year where you weren't getting games. By the time E3 and summer comes around, you're not getting a lot of games, but you're starting to get some news. And I think we're just lucky where we're getting games all the time now. We're getting games around the clock. I don't think there's any generally too big of lulls in the year anymore. You're getting crazy games all throughout the year. We just got Zelda, in May, and then we're going to get all these great announcements over the summer. So I think I think it's probably leveling out more. You're just getting more good games consistently, more good news consistently. Maybe it's not hitting the high highs of old E3s where you're getting all the news at one time, but we're getting more games throughout the year. We're getting more announcements throughout the year. Companies are being more straightforward and transparent with what's going on and what's in development. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's cool. I like as someone who follows video games closely, I think it's nice to have it all the time instead of waiting on a big drop. So check out that PlayStation Showcase this upcoming week, and come back next week if you just want to hear me talk about it. I'll tell you about all the cool stuff from it. So that's our deal. All right. So just thinking about the PlayStation Showcase, I wanted to bring up the other big summer show that everyone's looking forward to, and that's the Summer Games Fest, and that is on June 8th. And this is the fourth year in a row of festivities and game announcements. So just wanted to bring that up. So we got the PlayStation Showcase this upcoming week. It looks like it's either that following week. I believe it is. So June 8th will be the Summer Games Fest show. So that's something else that you'll be hearing about on this Dep Lewis show. So I just wanted to prep you for that. Those are two really big showcases coming up about the things that we like on this show, the video games. All right. So I saw some news last week. And an announcement. I haven't watched the trailer yet because I've been kind of busy, but I got the announcement and I'm excited, and I really can't believe this is happening. So there's been some Mortal Kombat news, and there was an official announcement trailer. You can discover a reborn Mortal Kombat universe created by Fire God Liu Kang. There's a new fighting system, there are new game modes, there are new fatalities. This game will be available on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, and PC. I really can't believe it's coming to Nintendo Switch with the release. if you look at that, it's only coming to next-gen consoles. It's not even coming to Xbox One or PS4, but it's coming to Nintendo Switch. So I guess that's just because Mortal Kombat 11 was optimized for Switch and was able to run on there. So I guess they have done the background work already to get this on the Switch. I can't imagine it'll run as nicely and look as flawless as the new next-gen consoles, but very cool that that's an option. I think, thinking through it now, why couldn't maybe Xbox One or PS4 wouldn't want a lesser version running on that just for, visual or, I don't know, that kind of purpose. They just don't want to have two drastically different versions for people to compare and maybe, talk shit about, but I don't know. But you think if there was a Switch version, you can get an Xbox One or a PS4 version, but, either way, I digress. Pre-orders are available on May 19th, 2023, so you can pre-order this already, and it's $69.99. PlayStation and Xbox players will receive a beta access available in August. So this game is just called Mortal Kombat 1, I believe. So I think it's pretty cool. They're doing kind of a reset. I think Mortal Kombat 11 was one of their best games, in my opinion. I played the hell out of that game. And, so I have kind of full trust going on in the Mortal Kombat crew right now. I'm going to buy this game when it comes out. I believe it comes out, I don't know if we found out yet. Yeah. Oh, yeah. In September. So September 19th. So in June 2nd, we're getting Street Fighter 2. That's going to be a game I purchased day one. And that's coming out, in a couple weeks. And then come September, I'll have a new Mortal Kombat game. So my year is shifting a little bit into some fighting games. I knew it was going to with Street Fighter, but now I got Mortal Kombat on the back of it. I am going to be fighting my ass off. And whenever I got my Xbox Series X, I bought a fight stick for it. So I'm going to be, and I use that a lot for Mortal Kombat 11. So I'm going to be using that a lot for, I'm going to be using that. Actually, sorry, no, I never ended up using my new fight stick. I played Mortal Kombat 11 a lot on my PlayStation and used that fight stick. So I basically have a new fight stick that I haven't really broken into much. And that's going to be the one that I'm going to be using most likely for Street Fighter 6 and this new Mortal Kombat 1. So, pretty great timing to be a fighting game lover like myself. And what else about this game? There's the story mode returns, which a lot of people love, including myself. And it's featuring unexpected twists on classic rivalries and original backstories for a wide-ranging cast of legendary fighters. Now, one thing I did hear, everyone, I think this announcement got teased before, so a lot of the podcasts I listened to last week were recording before this announcement, and they were kind of speculating or talking about what they'd like to see. And one thing I thought was cool, Jeff Gerstmann was saying that they should have Scorpion be a lady in this game. I think that would be a cool idea since, this is kind of like, people call The Legend of Zelda the legend. They bring up the legend part of it, like, oh, this is the same story being retold, just in different ways. So, some people argue that, oh, this is the same thing, but then other people argue, hey, what do you expect? It's a legend. And kind of like this Mortal Kombat universe, I think, as long as you had a Scorpion character, it doesn't matter if it was a guy or a girl. I think they could play around with some of this stuff, and, I think they do. I don't think it's anything hurting them in the game, but I thought that was a cool idea from Mr. Gerstmann there. But I'll be excited to play this game in whatever form they release it. Mortal Kombat has built up some great trust recently with their releases, and, shout out to them. This was something I didn't expect to get. I knew, we haven't gotten a Mortal Kombat game in a little while, but it just seems like what's the word? Getting too many riches at one time. I don't know. It's just unbelievable that it's that cool. So video games, you're hard to believe that you're that cool, but thank you for being so damn cool. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is a game that released, and it's something that I think I want to play. I think I want to play this ASAP. So I think I'm going to buy it. It's $29.99 on the PlayStation. I believe it's on PlayStation and PC. Or you can also play this through PlayStation Plus. If you subscribe to that service, this game is included in that. But I think it's check those tiers. I think it's it's the middle tier. I think you have to at least be subscribed to get access to this game. But it's something I watched Jeff Gerstmann play this week. I also listened to MinMax talk about this game this week, and they had I guess he's one of the developers from it, Mark McDonald from Enhanced Games on there. But this new game is called Humanity. It's called the Humanity game. It's by the creators or some of the creators of Tetris Effect Connected. It's a unique blend of puzzle solving and action platforming. Humanity puts the fate of mankind in your hands. Or pause, did we mention you're a dog? So I think that's one of the things that sold me mainly, that this game I'd heard about before, and I think they showed it off at some showcase last year, and basically the hype from that was it's being made. But do you remember Tetris Effect Connected? This is the same team or some of the same people making this new puzzle game, and it looked really cool and unique and different. And the first few things I've been hearing about people playing it have been very positive. And then I learned you're a dog in there, which I love dogs as much as video games, and I really want to play this. So I think I'm going to be buying this later today possibly, and maybe reporting some back on it next week, in the midst of some of my Zelda playing. But in this game, you're a Shiba Inu charged with commanding massive marching crowds to jump, turn, push, float, shoot, and climb their way to salvation. Two quick things. This reminds me of some of the puzzles from Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, where you're playing Clank and you're having to direct traffic through this level. And it also reminds me a little bit of Mini Motorways. The Great Ballness recommended that to me. I had a lot of fun with that game, and it reminds me some of that because you're directing traffic and flows of people in groups, and you're in control of it. And that's kind of the whole point of the game. It's kind of a platforming thing with moving people around, it seems. And it just seems like a really, really cool take on it. And Tetris Effect Connected was a badass game, and it just kind of builds up some trust with me to jump into this and think it's going to be really cool. But this, you want to guide the masses through 90 plus stages filled with obstacles, enemies, puzzles, unlockable skills, and wild boss fights in the narrative campaign, or browse a wide array of user-made levels or build your own, crafted via the super easy to use in-game stage creator. So got some building of your own, like some Mario Maker or like Little Big Planet back in the day. So that's a pretty cool element. Hopefully people will take advantage of that and build some cool stuff. This game also, whether you're on standard display or in optional VR mode, watch as the breathtaking swarms of people follow your commands to the exit, all in humanity's stark, iconic style, courtesy of director and celebrated visual designer Yugo Nakamura and famed game creator Tetsuya Mizuguchi. Worked on created Res Infinite and Tetris Effect Connected. So some really high profile big dogs there helping at this game. So good pedigree, and something I think is interesting to know about. I believe I heard Vinny from Nextlander talking about this and didn't really put together this was the game he was talking about, because I don't know, the title is a little ambiguous and it just seems like a unique thing, so it's kind of hard to grasp those sometimes, or it takes a minute to grasp those things, but they're unique. So this is something I could see myself purchasing this week and possibly playing some and reporting back to you about it. So that game is called Humanity. If you want to go play that right now, you can. And if you want to tell me anything about it, DepLewisShow@gmail.com if you want to give some feedback. But possibly you'll hear some more about that game next week, and I'll keep you updated if I hear anything extra cool about it. Oh yeah, and one last thing, there was Mark McDonald was on the MinMax show. Apparently he used to work with Sarah Podrosky on 8-4 Play podcast. And MinMax's show was really cool this week, and it was cool listening to Mark talk about the games he's worked on, including Humanity. So go check out the MinMax show. Check out the MinMax show always, but last week's episode was especially good, so go check that out. And you can get some more information on Humanity there. All right, the last piece of news for the midsection today is there are new Super Mario games coming to Switch through Nintendo Online. That's Super Mario Advance, Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2, and Yoshi's Island Super Mario Advance 3 are all coming to Nintendo Switch for Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack members on 5/26/2023. So if you have the Plus version of the Nintendo Switch Online, the expansion pack, you can play these games. I don't know if I've played this. These are Mario Advance games. I think it's strange that, Yoshi's Island, and then it's Super Mario Advance 3 is in the title. So I don't know if I've played these or if I played part of these, but it's something I'd like to maybe check out at some point. I think that expansion pass for the Nintendo Switch Online it seems like it keeps adding more and more value. It's something I should subscribe to, because there keeps being instances where I want to play something on there, or something gets released and I think that's cool and it'd be fun to have the option to go in there and play it. I don't know, like, if many games I play, I would play a ton of it, but just stuff I'd like to try out, and they keep adding stuff to it and making it more enticing. But I don't generally like paying for like subscription-y things, or especially with that, it's a more of an expensive subscription thing. But it seems like it could be worth it. They keep adding value to it, so that's the give and take with these services. So maybe they are doing better on their end of it in my mind. So we will see. I'll keep you abreast on any happenings in the Nintendo Switch Online world as we go over the course of this wonderful Dep Lewis show. So that is going to wrap up the mid section. We've smoked all our mid we have, which is sometimes a very good thing because then you don't have any more mid. So we talked about that PlayStation Showcase in the upcoming week, 5/24/23. Summer Games Fest is coming up 6/8/23. There is a new Mortal Kombat game coming 9/19/23. Humanity, the game, is released right now. Looks really cool. And then there are new Mario games coming to Nintendo Switch through Nintendo Online. Some older Mario games that'll be available there on 5/26/2023. So there are tons of games to play, all amongst The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom getting released. It's not slowing down these other studios. It's not slowing down the video game world. It's not slowing down the world. You got to put this giant release out, and there's still other things happening, other games to play, and we're just lucky to be consumers in this world with this video game setup. So shout out to all the video game makers, all the video game workers, all the idea people, all the technical people, all the marketing people, anybody related to the video game world, all the people testing the bugs and whatever. Shout out to you. You make the world a great place to live and more fun. So that is the positive spin here at the end of this midsection. So we are going to take another quick break. We're going to come back for the miscellaneous talk section of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 33. We got some comedy talk, some podcast talk, and then we're going to finish it off with the worldwide world of sports. So that is the plan. So go take a quick break. Go charge your Switch. Go buy a game online. Go get some PlayStation funds. Put some funds on your account. Get ready to spend. Buy some games. And then come back and listen to the final section of this show, because I'll be back in just a second to talk about some cool things. So be back in after this music. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 33. This is the miscellaneous talk section. So we're going to get into some miscellaneous talk. The first thing I want to highlight in this section is some comedy talk. So I was on vacation last week. I downloaded 2 new comedy specials, and I've only watched one, so I'm going to talk about that right now. But that was Adam Ray's YouTube special, Read the Room. It was on the 800-Pound Gorilla Media's page, so go check that out if you want to watch this. It had up to 118,000 views, and it came out a month ago whenever I watched it. This was very funny. I've just kind of recently become an Adam Ray fan, so it was nice to see his stand-up, and I had a great time watching it. He was rocking a Supersonics and a Mariners hat in this, so I'm assuming he's from Seattle. And one other note I wrote was his impressions and his voices are really good. It seems like he could do some acting, and this was just a pleasant surprise. I thought it was really funny. I thought he had some good material. He had some good crowd work stuff in there, and just a little more surprising than I thought it would be. So just go watch that. I don't have too much more to say about it. I love watching these YouTube specials, and I want these people to have a lot of success on there, because I really enjoy getting the special on YouTube. It's my favorite format to watch them, and I think it's cool that these people are doing them. The other one I downloaded was Lewis Black. He has a new special on YouTube. He's actually the first comedian I ever saw in person, and it was a very long time ago. And it's going to be cool to watch that. I just haven't really had time. I downloaded a few things to take on the road with me, and I was able to watch this in my hotel room one night. So Adam Ray, shout out to you for helping me be entertained on the road. And I think you guys should go watch his special, Read the Room, right now. So go watch it and tell him Dep Lewis Show sent you. So the next thing I want to do is just shout out podcasts in general. I listen to a lot of podcasts in my normal life. I'm doing a podcast myself as the Dep Lewis Show. And, I went on a road trip. I did 2 days of driving on each side. And, I could have done it, but the podcast made it so much more bearable. I listened to podcasts the whole time. I had to save up some of my podcasts during the week that I listened to right away. But I saved them from the ride, and I think it's a really good tactic, especially if you love podcasts. So I just want to shout out all the great podcasts that really helped me through, and that helped me through on a normal basis of my week, for entertainment. So Bill Simmons, Jeff Gersman, Fire Escape Podcast. They had an extra episode in their feed this week with Dan Reichert and Paul Reichert, his dad. That was really, really entertaining. The Mid-Max Show, Game Scoop, Nextlander, Chrissy Chaos. Esther Pavitsky has her own solo podcast called My Pleasure, and I've started listening to that. Tim Dillon, one of my favorites. Giannis Pappas had Jay Larson on his show this week, and that was a great episode. Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast. Rory and Maul, I've been back into them lately. Tuesdays with Stories, and there's probably more. The NBA Mismatch. This Bitch with Kim and Sarah, with Kim Congdon and Sarah Weinshank. And This Bitch, Kim and Sarah were on Joe Rogan, so I finished watching that on my ride. So just shout out to those people. I hardly listen to any music. I had these podcasts on in the background while listening to my GPS, and just thank you for all the great entertainment. So, hopefully someone out there will be feeling the same way about the Dep Lewis Show one day. And, I hope that'll be true, because I'm a really huge fan of podcasts. And, just thank you to all those people and more. And all the other shows. Kill Tony, that's a podcast I know, but I treat that as a live show I watch. So, just shout out to these things. Really, really cool. So just wanted to hype them up a little bit. All right, so let's get into the worldwide world of sports. We're going to talk the Carolina Panthers, the official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show. All I want to say there is I'm getting hyped for Bryce Young. He's looking really good in the Panthers jersey. It's been fun to see some footage of him on the field. I really like his attitude. He seems like he could possibly be a great leader, great teammate, a great franchise quarterback for the Panthers, and all signs are pointing to positive right now for him. So that's what I'm going to be feeling as well. So I wanted to talk for a second about my current favorite Panther, which I believe, after doing some soul searching, which I think you might already know, is Brian Burns. So I think my Panthers fandom has gone from, I have a Panthers torch of my favorite players. So Cam Newton, probably my favorite of all time, to DJ Moore, now to Brian Burns. So give my man an extendo. Brian Burns needs an extension, please. He needs a huge bag of money. Make him the highest paid edge rusher in the league, and just be happy that he's on your team and watch him get the play. So, Mr. 53, you're the man. Brian Burns, Dep Lewis Show is a huge fan, and just like we are of the Carolina Panthers. So that's all I want to say about them this week. So let's get into a lot of it, of the official sport of the Dep Lewis Show, Major League Baseball, and the official team of the Dep Lewis Show, the Atlanta Braves. So the whole point of my trip was to go visit a friend. One of my other friends went out there, and we went to the Atlanta Braves games at the Texas Rangers Stadium. So we went Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night. We saw a win on Monday, we saw a loss on Tuesday in a close game, and then we saw a win on Wednesday. We sat in different seats for each section, so we moved around. I sat behind home plate one game, I sat behind the Rangers dugout one game, and then we sat in right field one game, and it was epic. So let's see, just before getting into that, the weekend series before was against the Blue Jays, and the Braves actually lost all three of those, so I wanted to report that since the last time we talked. Wasn't a great series by the Braves against the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are a strong team. I don't think they're stronger than the Braves. I think the Braves just got caught slipping, and it was nice to see the Braves get their stuff back together this week because, my friend was making fun of that, and other people that know I like the Braves are making fun of that. So it's nice to see the Braves get back on top. So they won Monday night against the Rangers. They won 12-0. There were a lot of bombs. That was the game I sat behind the home plate. Got to see Charlie Morton's curveball in person, so that was epic. It was very nice to see him. He's one of my favorite Braves pitchers. And then Tuesday night, we got to sit in our best seats. There was a section where we can go get food and drinks and stuff like that. And we were two rows behind the dugout, so I could see all the players. I saw DeGrom chilling in the dugout, and you could just see it. It was just nice to be that close. You could see all the expressions on their face. You could see them laughing. You could see them talking, joking. It was just a little extra insight into the game you don't normally get, and it was a very cool perspective to watch the game. I bought a Rangers hat during this game, so that might be why the Braves lost. So I was rocking a Braves jersey with a Rangers hat, and we got closed out by Will Smith, so that was the biggest, I was about to say faux pas, but the biggest mistake of the night was Will Smith closing us out because he used to be on the Braves. He used to kind of give up some home runs on the Braves, and we'd talk some trash on him. And now he's on our friend's team in Texas, which is funny, and it was funny to see that he came out and ended us that game. But it was a close game, so that was really nice to see. And then Wednesday night versus the Rangers was a close game as well. We sat in the outfield. One of my friends had a chance to catch a foul ball, but was too busy eating his chicken tenders to get up and even try for it, so he just let the ball hit a few chairs over, and it bounced down to the bottom section, but we were so close to a foul ball. Like, when we even sat in these seats, we were like, hey, this is our best chance of getting one. I think it was 30 minutes into the game or something that we get this stellar opportunity to get one, but it passed us by. Orlando Arcia had the go-ahead homer this game. Spencer Strider struggled some, but he was cool to see in person. And I had a great time on my trip and at the Rangers Stadium and seeing the baseball. And my other thoughts from this are Adolis Garcia needs to cut it out. I might be adding him to my jerk list of Jordan Alvarez, Jeff McNeil, and now Adolis Garcia. He has been in fuego, on fire. He's been hitting home runs, and I think he's still been hitting them since after this Braves series. I really like the Rangers mascot. I kept calling him Horsey Boy. He's a cute horse mascot, and he was dancing and doing stuff. They had these golden chick races, so that's a restaurant, and you would pick a color and watch these things race, and I was 2 for 2 in the first games. I don't think we never bet on the third game, but I was 2 for 2. So I'm guessing those golden chick people right, and I actually ate some golden chick. So I was a big fan of the golden chick while I was there. We got to see the return of Seager. We got to see him DH on Wednesday night. He had a sac fly RBI, so that was cool to see. And then I believe he bombed last night in the game against the Rockies. I think the Rangers are playing. I saw DeGrom in the dugout. Globe Life Field is really cool. I didn't get to see with the roof open. They had the roof closed each night. It was raining a little bit there in Texas. I'm not sure why Wednesday didn't have it open, but and they still haven't had it open since. But that was cool being in that stadium. Had some nice air conditioning in there. They have an area outside called Texas Live, which has some bars and some places to eat. I watched a girl ride a mechanical bull. They had giant TVs out there. We watched the playoff games after the baseball. We watched the NBA playoffs on those giant screens and had a drink. So I just had a fantastic time out there in Texas. I saw Mark Cuban's house. That was pretty cool. He's got eight garages I can see, and he had armed security. Texas had lots of good food and bars. I got to see Jerry World. It looked cool. I saw American Airlines Center where the Mavs play. And then I saw the Mavs practice facility. I saw a pretty cool Dirk mural too. So, all the love to Texas. I had a great time. Even had a good time driving out there, and I had nothing but fun. And I hope I can go back again next year. I don't know if the Braves will be in town, but if they are, I'm going to try to go see them. Or maybe I'll just go see some other baseball out there and visit again because it was so much fun. Globe Life Field, shout out to you. I follow you on Twitter now, and I'm staying up to date with if the roof is open or not, even with not being there. So it was a great time. And so the Braves had Thursday off, and then they're back in Atlanta for this weekend, and they're playing the Mariners. So the Braves have split. They won Friday night against the Mariners. They lost last night to the Mariners, and they're playing the Mariners today at 1 o'clock. So I'm going to be watching that. And one of my friends is actually there for those 3 games. So one of my friends who went out for those Texas games got back to town, and he actually drove to Atlanta with some other friends, and they are watching the games there this weekend. So he's getting full use of all his Braves gear, all his jersey. He was letting other friends borrow his jersey so they can go rep. So it's been a great weekend, a great week for baseball. A great week for the Dep Lewis Show. I had so much fun, but I am glad to be back in the world in the multi-million-dollar studio here in Dep Lewis Show Inc. And just been really great. But it's been fun to have all this down, be able to report to you. So hopefully you've got some good insight into the Dep Lewis world. And if you got any baseball thoughts, email DepLewisShow@gmail.com. I'm loving some baseball around here, and that is going to wrap up the miscellaneous talk section for the show today. So thank you, loyal listeners, for listening to the show today and every week and in the future. We talked some comedy talk in this miscellaneous section. Go watch Adam Ray Read the Room on YouTube. I shouted out a bunch of podcasts in general. Podcasts are the best. Shouted out the Carolina Panthers. We talked about the Atlanta Braves and my trip to Texas, and hopefully the Atlanta Braves will finish this week off with a win against the Mariners. And then and the Braves next week start with the Dodgers. And I don't know who else is later in the week, but the Dodgers is a big one. I love watching them play the Dodgers, so I'll be reporting back on that next week, plus much more about the Braves and just other things. And that, in turn, is going to wrap up the show today. So this has been the Dep Lewis Show, episode 33. I really appreciate you listening. I appreciate your patience and your flexibility the last 2 weeks with, last week's show being a little bit early and a little bit short, and this week being, at the proper time, but we're just having some Zelda talk. It's just been a little more cobbled together than normal. So, next week you should expect a normal format, a normal Dep Lewis Show at normal time, and, for the foreseeable future. I don't have anything too crazy going on just besides my normal life. I'm playing these games and playing some Zelda, so that is the plan. So just thank you, as always, for listening to the show. Just the last, going to end it with some housekeeping again. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review. Turn on notifications, tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. Clips are on YouTube and TikTok. I got to get some clips after this show. I'm going to chop those up and put them on the internet so you can see. And that is the plan. So I just appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you listening. I hope you're playing some games this week. Hope you're watching some baseball. Hope you're watching some comedy. Hope you're listening to some other podcasts along with the Dep Lewis Show. And I overall just wish you the best, and I hope you have a great week. And please come back next week for episode 34, because that's where I'll be. So we will see you then. Peace out from the Dep Lewis Show, and see you next week.